And we. He's retired. He's going down. Awesome. Awesome.
Where are you?
Here. Here we go. All right, I'd like to call to order the counties of Warren and Washington Industrial Development Agency meeting on December 16, 2024 at 4:04 PM. Somebody's in trouble. Roll call, Ally.
Jenny Sullivan. Here. Nick Caimano.
Here.
Jim Nolan.
Here.
Trisha Rogers. Here. John Taplin.
Here.
Tim Robinson.
Here.
Dan Bruno.
Here.
Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have 8 out of 10.
All right, everybody received in their meeting packets the minutes for the October 21st regular meeting, the November 6th regular meeting, and the November 18th special meeting. I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes. Jim.
Second.
Nick, any discussion?
Except the sixth was special meeting.
The 6th was a special meeting. Yep, thank you, Tim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries. All right, I will turn it over to Chuck.
Okay, is my mic on? Do you guys hear me? No.
No.
Yeah, get closer.
Okay. You gotta talk right into it. How's that?
There you go. There you
All
go.
right, hang on. I gotta move here because there's no way I can. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So our next agenda item is the Exit 19 Lodging LLC. The LLC is proposing a new Town Place Suites by Marriott at 528 Aviation Road, neighboring the Aviation Mall. The proposed 110-room hotel is 65,000 square feet, 4-story facility for an estimated investment of $20 million. Today, the board is considering the acceptance of the application. Exit 19 Lodging LLC is affiliated with Matrix Hotels based in Clifton Park and led by Bhavik Jarwala. Board members who were here in 2017 may recall Bhavik as the owner, developer, and operator of the Home2 Suites by Hilton, also at Exit 18. This $12 million plus project received IDA investment incentives in 2017 and opened in 2018. Matrix Hotels also owns and operates another 6 hotels located in Albany, Schenectady, Plattsburgh, Lake Placid, and Chicopee, Massachusetts. Assisting with the application is Jack Kelly, managing partner of Enterprise New York LLC, started in 2021. Jack has a rich profession in development. He was a senior VP of Saratoga Economic Development from 1995 to 2008, then director of economic development for Prime Companies from 2008 to 2021. Together, Bhavik and Jack produced a very thorough and professional investment incentive application, and now they are here to explain more. Gentlemen.
Good afternoon. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone to give us the opportunity to present our exciting project. Chuck already gave a little bit of history about Matrix Hotels and myself. We've been up in New York State, owning, managing, and developing hotels for about 15 years now. Touched on several counties, including Warren County. We first entered Warren County with an acquisition of the Sleep Inn Hotel off of Exit 19. We sold that hotel last year. We developed the Home2 Suites off of Exit 19 in a time frame where, from our Sleep Inn, we knew that the area had a lot of unmet demand. There's a lot of Hilton Marriott guests coming to our Sleep Inn since 2011, and these guests had to go to either Saratoga County or Lake George for lodging demand. And, we thought we were the first to bring a new hotel, and next thing you know, there's 3 of them. And we said, wait, how are 3 of them? That's a lot of rooms. And, luckily, here we are looking to do a 4th one. So I think we can all assume that the 3 made it and they're doing well. I think in a way, the pandemic helped this area of the state. A lot of people that were working from home had the opportunity to work remotely and take more vacations than they're used to. A lot of people either kind of were introduced to the Adirondack region for the first time ever, or maybe after a decade, and kind of, really understood the amenities and the experiences, visiting to this area brought. And we're really excited about this new project. I want to thank IDA for their support in 2016, 2017 timeframe for our first project. I remember when the appraiser did the project, we were a little, it was tough because there's 3 new hotels being introduced. And when you're an appraiser, you never know what that much inventory is going to do for a market. And I remember the appraiser saying, with 3 new hotels, I could never see your project doing more than 68% occupancy. And in the past several years, our Home2 has done over 80% occupancy. And we got our day-to-day management staff involved to say, is there more demand that's needed to the area versus the supply that exists? And they were extremely bullish. We acquired the land next to the existing Home2 back in 2021 or 2022, and we didn't know what we were going to do with this land. We looked at retail, we looked at multifamily, and next thing you know, as our home two, the strength continued to increase. Another hotel just made a lot of sense. This project will not only take a vacant piece of land and increase the property tax base substantially, it also adds 20 full-time equivalent jobs, occupancy tax, sales tax, a lot of benefits that people don't see when they look at a new hotel being constructed. We feel that IDA support is very important, especially with today's construction costs, as well as increased interest costs. To tell you a little bit about the brand, the county currently has two other Marriott properties. One is in the northern part of Lake George, the Courtyard Marriott, which is a little bit more seasonal, but it's also the highest priced hotel during peak season. And then you have the Fairfield, kind of on the southern side, off of exit 18. Our hotel is at exit 19, and we feel like the Marriott at Lake George has become very pricey in the summer, where there's demand for Marriott loyal guests that also want a suite and save some money and stay off of exit 19, which has a lot of the restaurants and other amenities that Lake George doesn't. So we feel that this project, basically adding another extended stay hotel, which is what the Home2 Suites is, makes a lot of sense. So we feel it's really right for, adding another hotel to Queensbury. We just submitted our site plan application to the Queensbury Planning Board. Queensbury has a lot of activity going on. Route 9 has really filled in over the last few years, and the amount of development going on in Queensbury is just been amazing to see. We can't even get on the agenda for a concept review until January, February, because they're backed up. So a lot of great things happening in the area. Our IDA process, even the first time around with the Home2 was very efficient. Jack helped us for that project. Our experience for this project has been great. Chuck and his staff has been very efficient and very communicative. And, I think Warren County just has a ton of growth potential, especially with the backing of IDA support for projects and just everything going on in the region. I want to thank the chairman for, again, allowing Jack and I to be here today and present. Chuck, thank you for all your support, putting a good application together, which I think is a win-win for everyone. And if there's any other questions that come from this, we're happy to answer. Thank you.
Well, so wait, before Bob, if you stay there for a moment, just as far as next steps, we will be doing our finding statement after this project matures its way through the planning board. We decided not to start with that process just in case there's any change in scope. And then after we do our finding statement, we'll do our public hearing, and then we'll have the presentation for board approval. This will probably be over the next few months. It's not going to be in January, because we're going to give it a little bit more time to go through the Queensbury Planning Board process. So I just wanted to make sure the board is aware that there'll be a couple more months before we'll be coming back. So with that, are there any questions for Bhavik on the project or the potential for the project?
I just had one, and in your application, you mentioned that it's vacant land, but there's also a building on it.
I'm not sure what the building is being attributed to, because there is no building. The town made it very clear to develop those parcels. They allowed the diner to be developed without the connector road, but when our hotel project was introduced, they required a connector road down to the mall. I'm not sure if it has something to do with the connector road, but it is a vacant parcel.
I can help a little bit with that. It's a little bit misleading in the application. It says land and building. It should be building and site. So that, I believe, is $85,000, I believe, is for roadway and utilities.
Oh, okay.
So that was just a misleading element up there in the application. There is no building, I don't believe.
That's all I had. Yep. You did a good job.
The project will bring 20 jobs. That's probably on the conservative side, and the reason we put a lesser amount is because of the synergies of potential for shared staff with the two hotels. If there wasn't a Home2 next door, we probably put 25. So it's just we took a lower side just to do some future synergies.
Yeah, and if I could add on to that, we tiptoed into the community benefit analysis. You have the operating jobs, you have the construction. There's also non-local visitor direct spending that we've done some estimates. And there's also room night occupancy and sales tax. So the preliminary indications are very positive. We're not finalizing these numbers until the application is finalized. But we're now looking at a ratio about 1 to 47 with the preliminary numbers.
All right, I'll keep it open for another minute if anybody has any questions.
I'm curious. How does it work with two bosses? You have two bosses in one place. How does that all work?
I mean, what we feel like, the Excited State product that we have, a lot of the times we don't have enough inventory for the, you know, 92 existing rooms. And a lot of our rooms are coming through Hilton. And a lot of them are repeat customers that enjoy their first experience. And we sell out a substantial amount of times over a course of a year. So when we're looking to build another product, we wanted a similar product that was doing very well successfully. And then we plugged the project into a different reservation system. You know, there's Hilton, Marriott, IHG, Wyndham. You know, those are kind of the choice. There's 5 or 6 big players, and you know, we could have done another Hilton project, but then we feel like we may be slightly competing with ourselves, so it kind of makes sense to spread it out a little bit. But we feel overall, you know, most Hilton and Marriott customers have both reward memberships. You know, one might be loyal to the other, but it's just a matter of us introducing this project and product being the best fit adjacent to an existing successful operation.
Thank you.
If I could just add something to that, I understand your question. The bottom line is there's really only one boss. And if you have like I had a chance to get to know the people that work not for, but with Babak. His brother-in-law works within the company. His wife is within the company. I've actually seen him out with his kids, so I think he's priming them to get ready to come into the company. So I don't think you're gonna have a problem. As a matter of fact, I think there'll be some real good efficiencies. The other thing, I just want to add to it from an economic development standpoint is that the Lake Placid facility, which sits up on the hill behind where the old Howard Johnson's was, and if you get a chance, just go up and take a look at it. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility built right into the heart of the Adirondacks. It fits in very nicely. Is that the jobs that will get created. The other thing is somebody's going to say, well, how does this qualify for IDA participation? Well, this is a destination project. It's not only a destination of people that come into the area, but talking with Chuck, and I'm sure some of you are aware that America has kind of lost their love affair with malls, with the adjacent Adirondack, or the aviation mall. This gives an opportunity for residents coming from Vermont to go to jobs now, but they'll be able to stay, bring the kids, swim in the swimming pool. So it's definitely something that adds along with the trampoline center, the rock climbing wall, all the other things that the IDA has participated in. So I think this is just a continuation of an overall master plan to make Queensbury and Warren County, Washington County, fully integrated and providing many different opportunities for employees.
Give everybody about 30 more seconds. All right, quick 30 seconds. All right. Let me get through the reading first before I look up and. So I would entertain a motion to accept the resolution accepting an application for financial assistance submitted by Exit 19 Lodging LLC, the company, relating to a certain project authorizing a public hearing with respect to the project and describing the financial assistance being contemplated by the agency with respect to the project. Nick, second. Dan. Roll call, Ally.
Brian Campbell,
Aye.
yes. Jenny Sullivan. Yes. Nick Amato,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers. Yes. John Tackland,
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Passes.
Motion carries. Now the hard work begins, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can stay if you like, but you won't hurt our feelings if you guys have to head out.
They're gonna stay for the holiday party.
All right, moving on. Treasurer, accounts payable, Tim.
Point out on the accounts payable report, we did not receive a bill for general legal services, so we'll be probably looking at a bigger bill next month. The, employee health insurance due 3453, sorry, paid, New York State Retirement Services balance with our pension contribution in here. And then we're a member of the New York State Economic Development Council, which is a part of the 1,000. With that, no other comments on the payables.
We'll entertain a motion to accept. Dan, second.
I'll second.
Nick. Any questions? Any final discussion? Roll call, Ally.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan. Yes. Nick Amato.
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers. Yes. John Tackland,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Passes.
On the balance sheet and the income statement, I'll be brief, still in a healthy position from an equity standpoint. Thanks to, the acquisition of the canal side, but also thanks to, this money that came in from the CHPE. Which sits in our checking and is, earning quite a nice bit of interest every month. On the liability side, it includes deferred inflows of resources. We talked about that before. That's our lease, that we have with, on the canal side, the money we anticipate over time. We also have it as an asset on the balance sheet. Lease receivable. There's an offset. Because busy bookkeeping to figure out why there's a difference in there. So the difference should not be that much. Figure that out as time moves on. We have more meetings with this engagement. That's the balance sheet and on the income statement. Team is doing a good job. Total income, 633,000. When you compare that to the prior year, it was 489,000. I know it says 1,239,000. But if you look up above, 750,000 of that was our own money for the PVC granted to the IDA. When you back that out, and our revenues are actually up. Expenses are, slightly up. Looking at the bottom line, oh yeah, expenses are actually down. And some of that is we had a new bridge replacement cost in 23 of 100,000, that we've expended, so, all in all, expenses were fairly in line with the prior year. And you back out that one-time grant from the PVP, entity to the IDA, we would have lost 159,000 in 2023 through November. And you add back that $100,000 one-time bridge cost. So it really would have been about a $59,000 loss, versus $96,000 year-to-date net income. About $155,000 swing, when you compare period over period. And then we'll have more in January when December numbers are.
Just a reminder to the team that the deposit for the bridge was $100,000 as we get into that in 2026. That may or may not be fully depleted, but we'll 2026 issue. So I know. That's what I do. All right. I will entertain a motion to accept the year-to-date financial reports. Dan, second. Brian. Roll call, Ally.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jeannie Sullivan. Yes. Nick Armato,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers, John Taplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Moving on, reports of committee, park chair update. Dan.
Yes, sir. I don't have an awful lot to say because most of the items will be covered in these succeeding issues, canal side project updates, maintenance, et cetera. I'll just say that we have entertained proposals for appraisal and zeroed in on one, and Mr. Barton will expand, expound, whatever, on those. We met with representatives of DEC this afternoon, Mr. Barton, myself, and Paul Gay and John, I can't remember his last name, from Labella, and two representatives of DEC to discuss a sanitary sewer system preliminarily. What would DEC, what would be acceptable to them and that sort of thing. So again, Mr. Barton, we want to expand on that. Other than that, I really have nothing because it would be redundant.
This is where I jump in.
You jump-
All right, I'll jump in. Yeah, we had a very successful meeting with the DEC today. We were a little fearful about asking for an on-site treatment facility and some of the technical issues with it, but they were not concerned. We agreed that we would start small with an application for a sanitary treatment facility, something smaller. As you may recall, with our initial plan with the connection with the Washington County Sewer, we're looking for 100,000 gallons per day. We are not talking about an on-site treatment facility of that size. It'll be much smaller, maybe, for example, 25,000. But then there could be a phase two that once we know who will be buying the land and what the needs will be, then we'll do another application to DEC for modification to the treatment facility. And our friends at the DEC were very comfortable with that approach.
Yeah, they were receptive. I'll just add that keeping the amount, the quantity treated influent below, say, 50,000 does not require an operator. Larger plants require a full-time operator, which adds to the cost. That would be borne by the tenant. And additionally, there's an existing outfall to the canal, which was installed on the GE dewatering project, which is very advantageous. It originates in the smaller building, that 25,000 square foot building that our electric occupies. And that, if we utilize that, which we probably will, that's a fairly sizable cost saving, not having to install that pipe in the outfall itself, and wall and all that stuff. So, and DEC was favorable about us using it.
So now Labella will start their conceptual plan, and in the next 8 weeks, we'll have a conceptual plan of what that could look like. We'll talk with the DEC, we'll get it spec'd out, and hopefully continue to advance the ball. Moving
Can I ask
on,
you a question, Chuck?
Sure, of course.
How does that get paid? The study by Labella. Is
Well,
that
that-
part of our grant?
correct.
It is, even though we had it fully or something.
It,
Hook up to the sewer.
yeah, we're going back to our options analysis. We actually did an option analysis, which included on-site. Now we have to go deeper into it.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be an extraordinary amount of work since there's already some baseline work and the fact that we have an existing building and an existing pipeline. But we still have to go through the process and then go back to DEC to have them bless what we're
But
coming
it's
up
all
with.
reimbursable through that grant that we.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
And just, again, this is all just analysis. Once we've had multiple meetings with the Fast New York grant folks, they understand that we're gonna get creative, and they even talked about possible if it gets into personal hands, public hands, that they're reimbursement options. So we're staying in line with all the entities. We've already used the MBRC grant, so that's paperwork has been signed to close out. So now we're just dealing with HUD and Fast New York. So yes, every step we take, we're staying in line with the grant folks. It's gonna be extra paperwork at times, but it's gonna allow us to have max flexibility.
So the opportunity on the sewer district is just too expensive or just not possible?
Well, the connection to sewer district itself was within scope, but it was the offset that would end up being $9 million that the sewer district could not afford. The sewer district thought they were getting funding for that, ended up they didn't get the funding. So then that doesn't allow us to work forward with, now there's still, I believe with the county talking with the association, New York State Association of Counties. I believe Mr. O'Brien was involved with that they're looking to see if they will provide some funding. So we haven't totally taken the idea of going to the sewer district off the table yet, but we realize that we now need to pursue an alternative if that doesn't pan out for us with the sewer district.
So there's also the water quality grant which applied for in terms of $5 million is that it? Which we should be hearing from anytime between now and
Eternity.
April. So there's 2 or 3 different sources we're working on to try and beat that up, so to speak.
Yeah, so we'll keep going down multiple paths until the path that, you know, becomes more apparent, the path to go down, then we'll steer onto that path and go forward.
Then obviously, if we do get a buyer, then that will dictate what they want and allow us to hone in very quickly on options.
The only other thing I'll mention is with the water district itself and the formation, we have a meeting this Wednesday with the town, the village, and the IDA to go through with attorneys in the room to talk about where the district is going to be. Is it going to be in the village? Is it going to be in the town? And then the next procedural steps. So that should be a big meeting on Wednesday for us. And with that, that's it on the development of the park, unless there are any questions. Okay, moving on to maintenance, I'll just mention that Everett, our part-time employee, continues to work well on the vegetation. That is actually quite cost effective for us. He's actually cleared the entire northern stormwater basin and will this winter work on the southern stormwater basin. As far as tenant activity, everything is going well. SMS Rail continues to do outstanding movement with grain. The company that's moving the grain is now using this area as a storage warehouse for its grain because other warehouses are full. So as a result, we're seeing more activity through our area, which is very positive for SMS Rail and for us. And that's it. We'll go into the appraisal in a few minutes. The other thing here on the report, as far as the park committee, going to the airport industrial park, we do have an entity interested in 24 acres at the end of Ferguson Lane. We had a meeting and they are working on a conceptual plan that hopefully will come back in the next 2 months. Do further progress on the potential sale of that land. Again, it's 24 acres, 16 are developable. And that's it, unless there are any questions.
Anything on the airport industrial park appraisal?
We talked with the appraiser on Friday. He has completed the appraisal of the Ferguson Lane area, but he also, in the scope of work, is doing appraisal on wetland parcels. So he is waiting for some information to then complete that appraisal. We should have it over the next couple of weeks.
All right. Canal side or airport industrial park, any final questions? All right, moving on. Ongoing business, canal side appraisal proposals, Chuck.
Okay, so as a reminder, we did an RFP to find an appraiser for our appraisal firm to appraise the Canal Side Energy Park. We sent the RFP out about 2 weeks ago, and the proposals were due this Friday at noon. And the team with our new friends at Berkshire Hathaway Lake Realty, and I'll make some introductions now. We have Bob Sears here. Bob, you want to say hello? Lou Marchio. All right, and Andrew Mangini. And so these are our new realtors, and we were meeting actually last week. And we were talking about the proposals coming in. Andrew said, "Hey, we can help." And then we said that would be great because they have a lot of expertise in this area. So Andrew and Lou and I met last Friday and evaluated the 3 proposals that were received. We actually sent the RFP out to 5 different firms. I won't go too deep into the situation, but the cost for the proposals were $9,500, $12,750, and $20,000, obviously quite wide in the cost estimate. The the firm with the lowest fee was very, very well qualified. So our recommendation is to go with the Conti Appraisal and Consulting LLC and award the contract for the appraisal upon the board's approval. So with that, I'll ask, are there any questions before we vote on awarding this to Conti?
I'll just make a comment. I've seen their work before and it's top notch. They do a nice job on appraisal. Spot on the values, so people feel confident with their work. Being the lowest cost, obviously that helps too.
Yeah, we're quite pleased with that. And I'll mention that Andrew and Lou also have had exposure with them and also had favorable feedback.
All right, well, with that, I will entertain a motion to accept the Conte Appraisals proposal for the gym. Second, Dan, any questions or final concerns? Roll call, Ally.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Nick Kimano,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers, John Tackland,
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes,
Motion passes.
motion carries. Moving on, any other ongoing business? No.
But maybe you should- Go ahead.
I couldn't.
Go away, go ahead. Fire.
Come on, go ahead.
Let's do it.
I'm happy to see this new hotel going in exit 19. I always thought exit 19 was the spot, not exit 18. That was where it should have been. However, gotta go to the planning board, right?
Correct.
I'm concerned because that road there is the state's road. And I'm concerned, I just want to make sure we cover our tails on the traffic before the planning board gets a hold of it.
Yeah, and as we know, that's their responsibility, not necessarily ours. But there is a new road that's been put in
Yes.
that will hopefully be part of the traffic plan. So we'll trust Queensbury Planning Board to do their job.
That'll come out at the light right there anyway. They'll be able to come out at the light, right at Aviation Road. And
Where
where
you
you
get
enter
killed there too.
where you enter the mall. Well, there's a traffic light. If you bend the signs, you'll be.
Yeah, and I'll just point out, Nick, that the planning board will have a public hearing, so
That's right.
there'll be opportunity to go and talk.
Yeah, we should be prepared to say the good side. Please.
Good. Any other ongoing business? All right, moving on to new business. Busy Bee Bookkeeping Letter of Engagement. Everybody received that in their read-ahead package. Again, as we continue to work towards generally accepted accounting principles, we're doing a good job. We have with the CHPE pilot coming in 2026 or a little bit later, there's going to be extensive pilots coming in. So we're looking for a little bit of help. If you haven't met Karen, most have. I think many have, many may not have. She again continues to help Ally and work with the team to get the P&L and the balance sheet and the auditors, everybody in line. Anything to add, Ally?
No, she's great to work with.
Any questions on the package?
There's a cap on this, right?
There is a cap. Yes. Not to exceed 5,400 annually, an average of 3 hours per month.
Without board approval. So
Right.
we may need it, but
I would expect in 2026 or beyond, as we get the new pilots, we may get there. But for next year, we should be good.
I'll make a motion. Nobody has any questions?
There's no questions. I'll entertain a motion to accept the proposal. Tim, second. Jim? Jenny?
Jim or Jenny?
Jenny.
Okay.
She was yelling it as Jim was raising his hands. Roll call,
Brian
Ellie.
Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan. Yes. Nick Kimano.
Yes.
Jim Nolan. Trisha Rogers. John Tackland.
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno.
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Right, motion carries. Moving on. Yankee Marine Sales Tax Exemption Extension. Kara.
Their current exemption expires, December 31st. They've requested an extension through the end of August to complete some work that, what did he say? It was gonna be for, he needed the weather to be more
Right,
cooperative.
Buildings have been done, but there's some site work that can't be completed until the warmer weather.
So that's the request. There's no request to increase the amount, just to extend it out through the end of August.
I'll move it.
All right, is this a roll call, Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, I'm entertaining a motion to accept the extension. Nick, second. Brian. Roll call, Ally.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan. Yes. Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers. John Taplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, any new business?
Yes. We had a little bit of a surprise on Friday, not a big issue. We're talking about the continuation of our social media intern. We learned on Friday from the county that the program that she's been hired underneath, the county was actually paying for her time, but that ends at the end of December. We'd like to continue with Alice until she graduates. So we need board approval to move her from the county payroll to our payroll at a rate, we'd like to do a rate of $19 per hour. Just to give you an idea of her number of hours in 2024, it was only 68 hours. So we're not talking about a tremendous amount of money. And as you can tell, she's had a very positive impact and it's been great to work with. So we'd just like a motion to bring her on payroll and pay her $19 an hour.
So this is from the end of December until she
It would
graduates.
be for the beginning of January until she graduates. And once we understand
When
when
does
she,
she graduate?
well, probably in May.
Okay.
So it'll be
2020.
through this spring, but then we'll probably come back and ask for hiring of another intern for social media. And again, we'll work with Liza and the county on that process. For right now, we just need approval to continue Alice, but to have her move to our payroll system. Be our employee at $19 an hour.
Jim, second. Dan, any further discussion? If you haven't had an opportunity to look at the LinkedIn site for the Warren Washington IDA, that true value of having her here, it's tremendous, so. Now, if we,
Not what that 5 months is.
Well, the estimate or the actual spending for her for the 68 hours was just under $1,200 from about May through December. And let me just add special thanks to the county because this is through the county program, both the recruitment and the paying of this intern. So it's really been quite a win-win. So thank you.
great. Roll call vote, Ally.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan. Yes. Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers. Yes. John Taplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Any other new business?
That's it.
Just checking. All right, staff reports. Chuck.
Okay, for the CEO report from November 19th to December 16th, I have a number of items here, 15, but I'm not going to go through everything that's happened. I'm just going to hit a few highlights because we're not only to talk about the past month's activity and our engagements in the pipeline, we're also going to talk about year-end accomplishments. So to keep this brief, back on November 19th, attended the ARCC State of Washington County with their own Trisha Rogers and Brian Campbell. Well done. Then on the 4th of December, this is when I met with the Berkshire Hathaway team. We talked about the kickoff of the marketing for Canal Side. That's where we talked about them being part of the appraisal process. Then on December 5th, ARCC had a holiday mixer at the Carriage House, which is very well attended. Then on 19th, Juan, Allie, and I attended the SUNY Adirondack AI Agility 30-day program kickoff. This is a very interesting program for exposure to AI and how you can use it within your organization. So this should be a lot of fun. We're only a week into it. We have about 5 more weeks, but we're really looking forward to it. We also, of course, had the EDC holiday party last Thursday. And then today, of course, we had the meeting with the DEC. So with that, I'm going to switch to talk about engagements. There has been year-to-date 97 specific engagements with potential applicants. We've had 32 in manufacturing distribution, 15 in tourism and recreation, 10 in hotel and resort, 1 in food and beverage, 16 in housing and mixed, 3 in energy, 2 in medical, and 18 in other. Of those, we might see up to 15 of those applicants in 2025. 44, it's unknown, and 25, I've judged the situation that they will not be applicants. As far as our pipeline list of potential applicants, we have 22 as of Friday. We have 5 in the hotel and resort industry, 7 in manufacturing distribution, 6 in housing, 2 in tourism recreation, and 2 in mixed use. Of those 22, 1 was, you heard today, the application has now been awarded acceptance. We have 4 other companies that are actually actively working on their applications. We have 5 that are close to starting the application process, and we have 12 who are exploring whether or not they want to continue with their project and whether or not they'll do an IDA application. That's a total of 22. And we, of course, always have a few companies that drop off. We've had over 10 companies we've talked to who have since decided not to go forward with the project. Any questions before I go into 2024 accomplishments? For the meeting, we sent out a list, Ally and Juan and I had worked on as far as our 2024 accomplishments. It's in draft form. I won't go through everything, but let me just hit a couple of highlights. In the category of leadership and development, there's a change in board roles, including chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. And then we also enrolled in the SUNY Adirondack AI Agility course that I just talked about. When it came to the investment incentive projects, we had 5 new projects approved this year. Everything underfoot housing project, the Adirondack Dome Recreation Facility, the Adirondack Radiology Associates, and Cary Road Medical Building LLC for a medical facility on Corinth Road and Cary Road. And then we had the Phoenix Inn project up in North Creek. And then, of course, today we've accepted 1 additional application. Through the year, we've administered 27 investment projects approved over the past 10 years, valued at over 142 million and generating over 500 jobs. As far as Canal Side Energy Park highlights, we of course have the Fast New York 4.7 grant distribution agreement for water system expansion and new wastewater service. We also now have been enrolled in the NYSERDA site analysis and marketing program, where our site is one of top 20 sites in New York State deemed appropriate for clean energy type projects. And of course, we've hired Berkshire Hathaway Blake Realty. On the Airport Industrial Park, we sold lot 32 to Hillstop Construction. We also sold 5 undevelopable lots to the Coleman Family Trust for land conservation. Those lands are heavily impacted by wetlands. We merged several lots, and we're conducting an appraisal for the sale of the remaining 8 developable lots. As far as community relations, we of course hired our social media intern, and we also attended over 40 community functions. And as just previously mentioned, we had 97 engagements with prospective businesses. So with that, any questions? This list will be finalized once we get through this meeting, and then we'll push it out. And then we're actually talking with our social intern about having some fun with the list of accomplishments through the social media. That's it.
I think you left out one pilot,
Which one's that?
HPD.
Well, I did technically,
Found the list.
it's on the list, but I didn't want to blow our horn because we did that in 2023. And as we know, in 2024, our involvement has been with the laydown. But come 2026, when that project is commissioned, we will have the $269 million for the pilots that will be started over a 30-year period. And that is for a $431 million project in Washington County, which of course has been quite impactful. So duly noted.
Good. Anything else for Chuck? All right, moving over to the administrator, Ally.
I only have a couple things. I'll be very quick. at our November board meeting, we were discussing the New Year class and whether or not the IDA or CDC were eligible. I did reach out to Lynn Durway, and she did say, I'm quoting here, IDAs are unable to participate because they are not defined as a municipal corporation under Article 5G 119N. So that answers the question as to whether or not that's an option for us. One last thing, I just wanted to update you all that all of our pilot school payments have been paid. And moving on to town and county come January.
We could have Christmas presents.
Yes. Checking your stocking. That's all I had.
Nick,
Mr. Chairman, I'd ask you to have the board have a moment of remembrance for Bruce Ferguson. Bruce was, it's not a mistake that that road is named after him. And Kara would know that. He was a tough guy. And I'm happy to say that I put up his name for the resolution, but he worked very, very hard and he's quite a guy. So thank you.
we'll take one moment to remember Bruce. Thank everybody for that. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Any other items for this board? Anything for the CEO or administrator? All right, I do have something here. Part of the journey is the end, and we actually had two board members, one who's supposed to be here, and hopefully he's at the party, but what we want to do is something a little different to thank board members that have left us this year. Dave, I may have you join you. Join me here, we'll give you an opportunity to speak here, but from IDA board, we wanted to thank you for your years of service, for your mentorship, and for everything you've done, and the partners on the county level, and thank you for this. And I don't want to say, I want to be brief, and give you the floor for all the years you gave us. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan, and thank you, board. It's been a good journey. And at a certain time, it's time to turn things over to other people. That's what I decided to do, and I think you've got a good board here. Many of you were, all of you were members when I was here. Well, Jim took my place. I think she was there, Jim. Anyhow, thank you, but I do think that one of the biggest accomplishments is CHP, and it needs a lot of money to it. We've already, for the idea itself, already gotten a $2 million payment. When they start commissioning, the idea gets another $2 million payment. But I think that there's a lot to be said for that project, a lot said for what it does for Washington County. And while it doesn't fill the gap that's left by the departure of Great Meadow, I hope it does help those communities remove, because Whitehall, Putnam, Dresden, more importantly, Fort Ann, Hartford and Granville, and Kingsbury are all affected directly by it. Given the order, Fort Ann is the most heavily hit. Second is Whitehall. Third is Granville. Fourth is probably Kingsbury. And that's based on their employees. More importantly, if there's one facility over there that will lose just in sandwiches. Just in sandwiches every day. At least $1.2 million a year. That doesn't include other stuff bought. That doesn't include gas, that doesn't include anything else. And, so we're lucky we've got them. I wish we hadn't lost Great Meadow. Great facility, great employer. It now makes the county number 2 employer, doesn't make a difference, but hopefully that, sometime soon, all this discussion about where we're going with Great Meadow and how we're gonna get there. There are some constitutional issues we have to overcome. With the land and the property, so we don't know how long it's gonna take, but at least we're gonna work with a couple of legislators. Actually, all our legislators to see what we can do to get planning and go through it, see what we can do. So thank you for the privilege to serve.
Thank you. I think Craig wanted us to take a trip up north to visit him, is why he's not here today, but we will make sure he gets this, even if we will take a trip up north.
Give it to Brian.
All right, public comments. I open the floor to public comments. Yes, sir.
I think the one thing I'd add, where Dave was going is CHPE also gave us the financial flexibility to actually go with Canal Site.
Yeah.
And, so as one thing goes away, another one, enters, and that's kind of what the IDA does anyway, so I think that's a bigger accomplishment that it keeps a continuation going and doing more in the future.
I said one on this just for a second. The last appraisal done on Canal Site was $41,000. So you came in at a good price.
Well done, team.
You know, recognizing the pilots will start in 2026, actually talked with Mr. Kelly. We had lunch, he and I and Bobik and Juan, and we talked about perhaps a program we go talk with the counties about this funding and any opportunities that they see to use that funding for long-term development. That's a county decision, obviously, per town. But this is going to be a major windfall for these towns and villages, and maybe there's something that we can do to help. And so we'll maybe talk with the elected officials in Washington County if there's a role that we can play besides just paying those checks. It might be a good opportunity for the IDA.
Anyone wish to be heard? Does anyone online wish to be heard? Having called for public comment 3 times, hearing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Tim, second. Nick, all in favor?